Hi everybody, so we're on to part 2 of the boat. Today we're going to be looking at the reflection, which is very similar to the top bit. It's just more or less, certainly this area here is in a darker tone than that area there, but it's a similar shade. This is quite similar to this, but it's just not quite the same. This running through here is pretty much the same as the top part of that. So I'm going to start with this piece here, which I have already drawn out. So that goes, does it somewhere? That goes in there. So I want the same tones to it, but a different, but slightly darker, obviously, than the top area. And just look at your colour version on the pattern. That gives you a really good indication of where to go with it. And where the boat meets the water is this very dark area that I've done in the dark brown. There should be a bit, I need to put some in over here as well. And a bit more just coming down here. So that's the area where the boat meets the reflection. So that's going to be the darkest part of the whole thing. Just cut that off a bit easier. Right. So that's going to go in there. Get it lining up. It's quite a thick fabric that I've used there. I think it's a bit of curtain fabric, so it just takes a little bit of more effort. There you go. So I'm going to do this bit over the top here. It's yet another lovely day here in the UK. I predict that it will be another 3 days before we start complaining about how hot it is. after complaining the last few months about how cold it is. It won't be long. Right. When I go silent, it usually means that I'm trying to look on my screen to see what I need next. Just trying to see. This is actually the same colour coming up. I think I've drawn it on very well. So I think we'll go with a different colour. Just trying to work it out. Right, so that piece there is with that colour. So let's go with that first. The boat turned out really well. I was really pleased with it actually. I put this like little purple area going through here, which is all different purples, which just really lifts it up a bit. So don't be afraid to use a bit of colour just to make things pop a little bit. I mean, they're all dark purples, but it does lift the whole thing up. And I've already started to echo it a bit down here, so I will echo it a bit more over here. That's always a good tip, to make sure you put it in somewhere else as well, just to kind of, I don't really know what it sort of beds it down, makes it more of a normal, makes it sort of stand out less, if you know what I mean. If you repeat it somewhere else within the pattern. Right. So just lift these bits up and poke these under. Generally I tend to lift and put things under. Sometimes I put them on top if you want a slightly crisper edge to something. It's quite a good idea to really cut the shape out carefully and put it in. Right. So I've got this bit here to put in there, which is again the same colour. Don't have to be too careful because it's going to go underneath. So as long as a bit at the front there is really only the bit that I actually need to cut out of there. So if we cut that carefully there, take that off there, take that off there, that's actually all I need to cut out because the rest of it's going behind. And it will give the whole thing a bit more stability if there's a bigger overlap. And what I have to be careful of is it just doesn't come under where I want it to come. So let's just check that's fine. I've got going on there, bit of fluff. Yep. Give it a good old press down. And then I'm going to add a different fabric in here. So it comes in like that and across here. And across there, and then there's another piece in here, which is going to be the same as that. So let's put that in. Use all these little pieces up that have been cut out already. That actually should have been on the top there, so I'm going to just put it under there. Right, then I'm going to put in this piece here. Comes across up that way. So we're just going a little bit darker again because we're coming down from that very dark piece there. So we're just working our way through the tones. That looks good. Just see what, right. So there's a little bit of that there. So I'm just going to pull that up so I can see exactly where that goes. And then I'll put it on the top of there, I think. Because I've obviously come down a little bit too low on the darker brown. Yep, liking that. I'm going to fill this area in here, right the way across there, with this one again. Again, it's going under, so don't have to worry too much about the cutting. Let's just come up under there, so we just need to lift that up. That's it. Just manoeuvre it about a little bit. That's perfect. Give it a good press down. And while we're at it, this bit over here is the same fabric as well, so we'll do that as well before I lose it. Right, and then I'm going to use a different fabric coming through here. It's going to go all the way around there. So, see if I can find one. Is that going to be too light? What I can do is just lift all of this out now and just slot it underneath and see how it looks. you can be quite robust with it at the time. Once it's stuck down a bit, you can be quite robust with, once it's fixed to itself, each of the pieces of fabric. That works quite well actually, I think. Yeah, quite happy with that. So we want this bit. It doesn't look the same, does it? Now I'm looking at it. Where have I cut it to? I'm going to have to add a bit on. I missed that bit. Never mind. You won't notice by the time it's stitched up. Fabric collage is a very forgiving medium. Lets you get away with all sorts of things. Right, so that's coming right up, all of that. That's going there. Try and get these back in the right sort of places, that's right. That's going to lay flat across there. Yep. And I'm just going to add that little bit on. This comes off the end there. Right. So you can kind of see how it's now starting to, that reflection is really starting to build up. And once you start getting the blues round it as well, it will really pop. So I think we'll leave it there. Like I said, a lot of these sort of areas around here are going to be very similar in colour to these ones around here. I'll probably use some of the darker creamies that I've used around these areas. And then we'll be on to the background, which should be a doddle. Should be easy. This bit through here is probably the hardest bit, I think. But it won't matter if you take your pieces a little bit bigger than that. That'd be fine. Right, so bye for now.